car running, and on the dashboard it says key fob left the vehicle. And this annoying alarming sound kept going on and on and on, right? And this sound, at first, it didn't bother me. Then it kept going on and on. And I finally got a revelation. God sends an alarm to us. He alerts us, right? Before anything happens. The Bible says warning comes before destruction. So today, for some, I want to talk about warning. Our subject today is warning. Many times we are warned or get those quote-unquote red flags about a decision. We either pay attention to them or we ignore them. So let's identify 5 warning signs or red flags that alarm us. Number 1, a behavior. This particular behavior is a pattern or habit that someone exudes when frustrated, angry, happy, or sad. Look at the behavior. Some people say it's a behavior pattern. Look at that red flag. How does he or she handle troublesome situations? How do they handle stress? Number 2, which could be a warning or a red flag, is how they communicate. Communication can cause a lot of problems in relationships. Ineffective communication specifically. So first, we have behavior. Second, we have communication. Now, the next 3, you might think they're a little bit different. Pardon the noise, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can still hear me. The train is going by, right? But don't let it discourage you from listening. Okay? So going back to the top. Number 1, behavior. Number 2, communication. And no, I'm not going to talk about listening, because we're familiar with that. Number 3, education. How can education be a red flag? Well, when someone lacks education, be it a high school diploma, a college degree, or certification, he or she views life differently. So, the Bible talks about being unequally yoked, right? How can light dwell with darkness? So forth and so on. When a person who has an education, be it a bachelor's degree, master's, or associate, even a doctorate level degree, he or she views things completely different versus someone who has a high school diploma or a GED. How so? How could education be a red flag? Well, for some people, the lack of is a red flag. Or it could show that either that person does not want to pursue a higher education. They're sort of stuck in a certain pattern, or stuck in a certain mindset for the lack of education. The reason being, they couldn't afford to go to college. They couldn't afford to go to trade school. Or they just didn't want to do it. For some people, that can be a red flag. Education. Number 4, finances. We all know that's a big issue, whether you're dating, courting, if you will, or married. One of the number 1 reasons people get divorced is financial issues. So, how is financial problems or finances a red flag or warning? Look at the debt to income ratio of that person. Look at the credit score. Some people may fall on hard times. Is he or she a spender? Are they a saver? Who handle the finances better? Him or her? Look at how you spend your money. Do you have a budget or a cash flow? Dave Ramsey teaches finances, but we all know about Dave Ramsey. But your bank have tools for you to improve in finances. So let's go back to the top, okay? Number 1, behavior. Number 2, communication. Number 3, education. And number 5, what do you all think number 5 is? children. What? How are children a red flag? Well, think about it this way. Children are a red flag for a few reasons. One, when you're dating and courting someone for marriage, the decision to have children will arise. How many children? When would you all have them? What time frame? What bracket are you looking at for children? Do you have the same views on children as far as raising them? Discipline, bedtime, habits? Think about it. A lot of people have children. They don't expect it. They don't know how this child is going to come out. They aren't sure if they're going to be autistic, if they're going to have some form of learning disability, not just autistic. Some people have, like me, I'll give an example. Growing up, I was a stutterer. I had a speech impediment. Eventually, I got better at it. I don't stutter as often as I used to. Thank God. But children can be a red flag because some people don't want to be with an individual who have kids. A man may not want a woman with children. A woman may not want a man with children. And if they do, it's a limited amount of people they want to be involved. Some people like, if you have more than one child, nah. If you have 3 kids, no. If you have 5 or more, I'm outie 5,000. Deuces, peace, I'm gone. Y'all know the colloquial words. I'm not sure. But they are out of there. I got a baseball game, 9th inning. Shoot, and the ball is out of there, out of sight, out of mind. And that's how someone are when they find out they have children. I remember being younger. I did not want to date a man who had kids. Do you know why? Because I didn't have any children, and I wasn't trying to take care of nobody's kids. But I got older, and I had to think about it. What if I was the one who had kids? Would I want someone to turn me away because I had a child or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever the case may be? And I come from a big family, So, let's go back to the top. 5 warning flags or warning signs. And so I'm going to say red flags. Behavior, communication, education, finances, and children. Those can all be red flags in a relationship. And even personally. But we're just going to stick with the relationship, okay? So if you are in a relationship with your husband or wife, and specifically I'm talking about marriage right now, evaluate those 5 categories. What kind of behaviors does your spouse display? How is the communication in your relationship? Is he or she, your husband or wife, still pursuing an education? Have they completed a degree? If they are going to school, is that time they're taking to finish a degree? How is it impacting your marriage? Financial literacy, finances. Is your wife a spender? Is your husband a spender? Do you all have a joint account? Who's saving? Who is really making a difference? Do you all have investments? Does somebody got life insurance? Did they have that? Are your credit scores being maintained? And lastly, children. Did you all decide on how many children you wanted before marriage, or how were your children being raised? Are they being raised in a spiritual mindset from both sides of the family? Are they being raised based on traditionalism, what his family roots are, or your family roots are, family ties? Do the children feel neglected or abandoned? What kind of struggles, what issues are there? What behavior traits are there from your children? Now, if you're dating somebody, man, listen, it's going to be a lot of stuff right there. I'm not married yet, but I know a good bit about being single. And I'll tell you what, behaviors, male or female in a relationship, and I can't talk about men as far as what they do and all that stuff. I can speak from my perspective as a woman regarding what women do to set a man off, and men do things too to set us off and take us women off as well. But behavior patterns that men exhibit, I've learned when they're interested in you and when they're not interested in you. That whole ghosting thing, it's a real thing, but women trying to do that too. But behavior patterns you can look at. How attentive is he to you? Does he know your love languages? Does he know your likes, your dislikes? What makes you upset? Does he understand those things? What kind of behaviors that is he explaining to you? That he conveys to you, that he trusts you. He likes your presence, like you being around him. Number 2, communication. Now, ladies, y'all know we good for sending on mass long text messages. But sometimes we can make decisions emotionally. And men can be emotional too. When they want to respond, they kind of lose that cool in the form of communication because they're speaking out of anger. So what's our response? The Bible says, a soft word turns away wrath, and a harsh word stirs up anger. So when we're communicating, what are we doing? I know I had some issues there, but I'm not going to be on here too long with y'all. Wrapping this up. Education. Are you dating somebody? What's your requirements for education? Do you want somebody with a high level degree? Are you willing to accept someone who doesn't have a college education? Think about it. I've dated a mixture, so educated, college-wise or not. Sometimes a life experience is worth more than a doctorate level degree. I tell you what. Finances, we already know. Is it okay for you to pay for the dinner? Is it okay for you not to pay for the dinner? I was raised, a woman should have more than her body to bring to the table. So when it comes to finances, when it comes to us, one is a red flag, ladies and gentlemen. Look at their attire, if you will. Look at their mannerism at the table. And decide in a relationship, are you spending more money on her? Are you spending more money on him? Is that a barrier? Like, have y'all discussed that? Or are y'all okay with it? The reason why I say that, because sometimes when you get in a relationship and you're dating someone, the male can make more money, or the female might make more money. So she may be okay with paying for some things. Or it'll be the opposite, where he may be okay with paying for some things. I know dynamics have changed and people say, she's in relationships about 50-50 and he should come up with this and she should come up with that. Never mind what society says. Do what works for you. What works for you, what works best. And you can implement what other people say, their advice. But at the end, it's your relationship, right? And children. If you're dating someone who has kids, how soon do you want to be around them? Do you expect to meet them? How soon do you bring your children around other people? Ladies, I know it can be tough, for us, because we're worried. We can be worried about our children for so many reasons, in so many ways. And sometimes the issue, a red flag could be baby mama, baby daddy drama. Is he or she in their place? Do they really recognize boundaries? The first video I posted a few weeks ago talked about boundaries. Is there boundaries? Is there something in place, Is it like a barrier, something to protect you from all the nonsense? Because he has children and his baby mama is bringing all the foolishness. Or she have children and her baby daddy is not over her. So using the children as an escape or a go. Those, ladies and gentlemen, what I've mentioned to you all, these are all red flags. Behavior, communication, education, finances, and children. Just my perspective. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, stay up, be blessed. I'm your host, Mo the Author.